my God. Oh my God. What's happening, people? What's going on? Happy Monday, guys. Happy Monday. How you lot doing? How you lot doing on this wonderful Monday afternoon? Mondays I always dread. I swear to you guys, I'm not kidding. As a football fan, as a United fan, as a creator, content creator, I dread Mondays, right? Because this is what my normal routine is, right? My normal routine is on a Sunday, especially if Manchester United have played. On the Monday, I like to watch podcasts. Currently what I have on rotation is, Talk of the Devils, the Wayne Rooney podcast, SDS. There's a lot of podcasts I like to listen to on a Monday after football. But lately, I just feel like every time I have to listen to those, I'm just in a bad mood. I'm just down in the dumps, guys. I'm just down in the dumps. How you lot doing? How are you guys doing? Feeling like I really need this therapy session. Me too, man. Me too. I'll be feeling like I need this therapy session too. Let me know if you lot can hear me properly. You should be able to. Yeah, you should be able to. Big up to everyone, first and foremost. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Mondays is always a busy one as well because we do Daily Dose here. Go over to Straight Jacket. After Straight Jacket, it's Red Carpet. So I'm talking about United from 4:30 till 8 p.m. And there's only so much you can say. There's only so much you can say, especially for Manchester United over the course of the last couple of weeks. But we have a lot to talk about, so much to talk about. We have to speak about the game yesterday. And most importantly, just speak about the tactical side of it, because I need to drop a video later this evening. I just need to edit it. But I'm going to give you a little preview into the kind of tactical side of how really Pep, without even really breaking into gear 3 or gear 4, managed to exploit Manchester United. And there were so many times, I'm not kidding you guys, so many times that I saw a heap of space for Manchester United to be exploited in the middle of the pitch. I was shocked. I was really shocked. And the reason why I was shocked was that I can't imagine a manager or a style of football or a system of football being so negligent towards the midfield. Like, I genuinely can't see it. And one thing I kind of hear a lot, is that it's not the system, it's the players. But at this point, I'm genuinely starting to question anybody that says it's not the system, it's the players, because I've said this ages ago. Any system, and I used to say this under Ten Hag, any style of football, any system or any formation or style of play that neglects the midfield, I think that is a recipe for disaster. Because for me, the midfield is obviously the middle of your formation, right? It's the middle, it's the heart, it's the center. If you have a hole in your heart, my friends, your heart's not beating. It's not going to beat. If you have a hole in your heart, you're dead. That's the easiest way to sum it up. So having such big gaps in your midfield in football, I think creates holes within, every part of your team. No matter how much you try to cause, fillers, in the front line or the back line, if you want to overload the back, overload the front, or overload the wide channels, if there's a hole in your midfield, you are dead, metaphorically and literally. And that's how I just feel about the way that Manchester United are playing. That's really, really how I feel about the way that Man United are playing. But we're going to talk about that, of course. We're going to talk about reports about INEOS backing Ruben Amorim's post-match comments. Because I think at this point, Ruben Amorim is definitely calling, I don't want to say he's calling out INEOS, but he's calling their bluff. He's essentially saying if they want to get rid of, he's saying you can kill the idea, but you can't kill the man. I.e., if you want to get rid of the idea, you get rid of the man. So if you want to get rid of this style of football, you get rid of me. And he's doubling down on it. He's really doubling down on it. And, I actually think that Ruben Amorim leaving, if he leaves Manchester United or if he gets sacked by Manchester United, I think it's a domino effect, not just for him. I think there's quite a few other people that will probably lose his jobs. And I'm talking about the ones that fought tooth and nail to put him into that position. I'm talking about the CEO who went hard to get him the job and saw him as that next in line. I'm talking about, Wilcox and Barada, who, reports suggest that they really pushed to get the deal over the line back in October. I think that their heads will be on the chopping block too. But that's a bunch of ifs. That's a bunch of ifs. Big up to Stu in the comments, says there is clearly a mentality issue with a lot of these players. As soon as that first goal went in, everyone's heads dropped straight away. But you know what's crazy, Stu? I hear this a lot, right? And we hear this a lot, this conversation about, mentality. And it's been an issue even under Ten Hag. There were some parts under Ten Hag where Man United were like that. But you can't tell me that that is still the case now, that it's a mentality issue. When Manchester United have brought in over 15, 16 guys since Ten Hag left. They've brought in a lot of players. Actually, no, but since Ten Hag left, we've brought in over 10 players. And I'm counting last summer because Ten Hag was here for less than a couple of months. I'm counting that last summer and then this summer, the January window. There is a lot of players in the team that there's more players in the team that probably have been brought in the last couple of years than there was under the last previous managers, like the Ollies and like the Jose Mourinho's, etc., etc. There's a lot more players, I think, that have been here more recent. So this mentality issue, and Ruben Amorim actually touched on it in his press conference, but I think Ruben Amorim, for me, listening to what he had to say after the game, both in his Sky Sports interview and both in his press conference, I'm seeing a little bit of Ten Hagism. And when I say Ten Hagism, I don't mean it in a disrespectful manner or anything. I just see a manager that is fighting for his life. I see a manager that's fighting for his life to prove his point. Number one. Number two, I see a manager that is stubborn. I say stubborn because yesterday in my video, I asked you guys a question. I said, is it naive? Is it rigid? Is it stubborn? I think it's stubborn. I think it's really, really stubborn of the managers. The stubborn approach to be adamant that, you know, something that's not working is going to work, despite the fact time and time again, all you have seen is the fact that it does not work. So I don't know where the manager is getting that idea and that confidence from that it's going to work. One thing that I also noticed after the game, not a single City player went to swap jerseys. It was the United players going over to them. They shouldn't have even done that. They should have just clapped the fans and been straight down the tunnel. If you're going to swap jerseys, do it in the tunnel where no one's seeing. Do it outside the dressing room or where none of us have to see that. I can't lie. As soon as the whistle was blown, I got up and I walked off from my couch. I don't want to watch anything after that. I just about watched the last couple of minutes, the extra time, because I don't know what else you could watch that you didn't know was going to happen already. Like, generally speaking, I thought I was being harsh in my match reaction earlier. By the way, guys, am I lagging? I feel like I'm lagging. No, it doesn't. No, okay. Apparently I'm not lagging. It looks like I'm lagging to me. But I felt like I was a bit harsh in my reaction yesterday. And when I say that I felt like I was a bit harsh, I said if Man United had played for another 100 minutes, I don't think we would have scored. And some people said I was being a bit reactionary. But you guys, can you guys genuinely say at any point yesterday you felt a goal on the horizon? Because I didn't. I can say that I did not see a goal coming. Even that chance and Mbumo got at the right in front of the goalkeeper where he hits it wide where he's not expecting it. The Casemiro chance as well, right in front of goal. I didn't feel like a goal was coming anytime soon. And that's why I said we could have played for 100 more minutes. And it would have just been another 100 minutes of struggle football. It really would have been that. And I think I said this time and time again. Let's actually start with the tactical part of the game. City took the foot off the gas around the 75th minute. I was embarrassed. Yeah, I felt like they did as well. I felt like they did as well. Let me see if I can bring up the first point of discussion before we get kind of into the details of stuff. Is this not traumatic, guys? Oh, I'm not even sharing my screen. My bad. Is this not... How is this normal? How is this normal? I'm just getting the tactic board up right now because I had it ready just before the stream, but it, for some reason, decimated. So let me just get my tactic board up and ready with the right players on the pitch. My first talking point, man. We're going to have some serious conversations. Serious conversations about our boy, Amad Diallo. Big up to Steffi in the chat. Maguire versus Haaland in a foot race. Yo, there was a part of me that thought, oh my God, Haaland's going to catch him. That when they got into that foot race, not this foot race, there was another foot race that Maguire won. For a split second in my stomach, I felt like he was not going to win. For a split second. This was obviously the lineup that United were playing with, right? This was obviously the lineup. And we need to have a serious conversation. Serious. This Amad Diallo, I don't know what has happened in, and this is not me turning on him before anyone says, oh, Mina, you're ready to, no. How can a system make a player like Ahmad or even Mbumo look as poorly as it does? That is what I ask myself all the time when we talk about the tactical part of the way Manchester United play. You have to understand that when multiple players are playing out of position, yeah, it's not going to work. Now, before the game, when I saw the lineup, I thought, okay, Mbumo left, maybe Ahmad right. I thought maybe that's the case. Then, just before the game, the manager was asked about it. And he said that he'd rather take the risk of playing Bruno at central midfield because he needs Bruno at central midfield. And as a result, he said he's playing Ahmad in the left because he plays left wing for Ivory Coast. And he played there over the international break. I don't know what Ahmad was doing yesterday. He was running around doing a whole load of nothing. He was running. And again, that's not me saying that he's bad. But how is the system making him look this poor? Because multiple players, for me, are playing out of position. Multiple players are playing out of position. But I think the biggest talking point, and I'm going to have to, for this moment, I need to bring the City players into this. Forgive me, guys, because I should actually do this actually before the stream. But I'm going to bring the City players into this. Yeah? Well, this is what City we're playing. Guys, no joke. This is what City were playing. And if you guys remember the stream that I did on Friday, and I said to you guys, if Manchester United lose the midfield battle knowing that City are going to play one man in the middle of the pitch, then we have a big problem. And what happened? Man United lost the midfield battle, despite the fact it was only Rodri playing by himself here. In this entire area, bro, all of that, let me get rid of that because it's kind of ugly, but let me do it with a square or a rectangle. All of this kind of area, yeah, was being patrolled by the man that is Rodri, the guy that's just returned back from an ACL, right? Just returned back from an ACL. Tijani Reinders and Phil Foden were playing as two kind of 10s. They were playing as two more advanced midfielders. Tijani Reinders spent more time, can I say, making runs into these kind of areas than he probably did having to track a man in the midfield. This tactic board, it is jlatacticsboard.com. Shout out to James Alcott, the content creator. He created it. So that's where you can get it from, my friend. But yeah, so this here, Tijani Reinders, he spent more time making runs as a 10. Manchester City, Manchester City were playing 4-man like this. Pep beat Amorim, can I say, at his own game. And when I say he beat him at his own game, he had his striker and 4-man. The only opposite is Manchester United have the 2 wing backs and then the 3 forwards, and it don't work. Pep beat Amorim at his own game. Have 5 men in the front line, have 1 man in the middle of the pitch, and get your fullbacks advancing, and get your centre back stuck in. That's exactly what Pep did, and it worked. It worked. Why? Because Manchester United lost every single battle in the midfield. I remember the first 5 minutes of the game, guys. The first 5 minutes. I mean, they had a chance in 20 seconds, right? But in the first 5 minutes, I think I must have tweeted saying, if Manchester United win the midfield battle, like, we have to take advantage of the midfield battle, because there is, like, City are there to be got at in the midfield. In the midfield, they are there to get got at, because they had Rodri as a lone midfielder, and Tijani Reinders and Phil Foden over here, and obviously Bernardo and Jeremy Doku. Now, I have to start on the fact that, and I've highlighted this earlier on Friday as well, Manchester United can have 6-7 men behind the ball and still get exploited, right? When Man United conceded that first goal, can I say, let me get rid of these drawings. When Manchester United conceded the first goal, we had most of our players behind the ball. Majority, if I'm not wrong, I think I got a picture here. Here it is. This is, by the way, when Manchester United conceded the first goal, right? And my first thought is people are getting on to Bruno for losing his man. He loses Phil Foden. If you see over here, this is where Bruno is. But what shocked me the most is Luke Shaw's positioning. Luke Shaw's positioning was, in my opinion, quite amateurish. It's quite amateurish, especially when you know you're playing as a left-sided centre-back. There should not be that much space between you and your central centre-back. And if there is, a player like Ugarte, the DM, the sitting midfielder, the six, whatever fancy name you want to call them, should be dropping. Even if that means you have to create a back six. I've seen people do it, by the way. I've seen teams do it where they are playing maybe quite compact on one side and quite spread out on the other side. So there's a gap. So I seen a centre midfielder drop in. I saw Fulham do it at Craven Cottage. I seen Fulham do it at Craven Cottage. Ugarte, at this point, for me, I think what I noticed, he didn't know what to do. Now, Bruno Fernandes mentioned it post game, and I spoke about it as well in the match reaction that I posted. Rodri was identified as Man United's press trigger, but even that they couldn't get right. They couldn't get it right because again, Manchester United noticed or knew coming into the game, Rodri would be the lone midfielder. He'd be the lone midfielder by himself with acres of time on the ball. So use him as the press trigger. This is not a press trigger. If this was a press trigger, if this is what we call a trigger in a press, I can't say what I want to say because what I want to say is illegal and YouTube might shut me down. But if this is the press trigger, this is a horrible press trigger. Ugarte should be going to him. Ahmad should be going to him. Instead, everybody's just standing there. Everyone's standing there waiting to see what's the next passage of play. They're waiting to see what the next passage of play is. And you guys saw what the next passage of play was. Doku picks up the ball. Nobody, four Man United shirts next to him. 4 Manchester United shirts next to him. Nobody lays a foot in. Nobody gets a foot in. Nobody goes in for a duel, for a battle, for a foot race, whatever you want to call it. And then he, a little bit of trickery, gets away. Phil Foden, untracked. Bruno Fernandes himself loses his own man. And that is, for me, another part of how the system is flawed, but also, for me, how the players in the system are flawed, if that makes sense. I am of the belief, and I've always been of the belief, I believe that if you require a very rigid and stern system, then I think you should play in a manner that allows you to get results. Because at the end of the day, at a time like this for me, with Man United, it's all about results. It's all about results. Ruben Amorim should be focused on just getting 3 points wherever you can get it. Wherever you can get it. And if that means you have to ditch the back five, because for me, it's not a back three. I don't care what anybody says. Manchester United, under Ruben Amorim, we are not playing a back three. We are playing a back five. I see more time in the game a back five than I do the back three. And when I do see the back three, it's normally in build-up or in the final third where Manchester United just look all over the place with their positioning. And yesterday in particular, all of this space here, City had to dominate. I think City had to dominate all of that space. And that's why I can't single out anyone. I'm not singling out Ugarte. I'm not singling out Bruno Fernandes. I'm not singling out Ahmad or Benjamin Sesko or Mbeumo. I'm not singling them out. For me, it's the system. It's very difficult for me to believe that this many players are that bad. If you told me 2-3 players in the entire 20-something man squad is bad, I would be like, okay. But you're telling me the entire starting 11 plus the bench are all bad? That suddenly they can't play football? No, nah. I'm really not buying it. And we're gonna get onto the manager's comments after the game because for me, I feel like his comments it does smell of a bit of stubbornness. It does smell of a bit of stubbornness. Let me see what you lot are saying in the chat. Reality is the system isn't good and makes no one look good. It's not a system worth dying for, in my opinion. I just think it's not a system that can work very easily. Number one. Number two, people always talk about Glasner at Crystal Palace. I don't think it's a like for like comparative. Glasner doesn't abandon the midfield. He doesn't. Glasner doesn't rely on the wing backs to be the form of build up. In what world of football, guys, does your wing back, yeah? In what world of football? Hold on, I have to highlight this. In what world of football does your wing back have more touches than your attackers? In what world of football? In what world of football is your wing backs expected to create when they're not even wing backs? They're not even wing backs, and they are expected to create. In what world? Glasner just has the same formation, but that's why I'm always saying formation doesn't equal system. He doesn't abandon the midfield. Some of his best, Crystal Palace's best, I think, player on the ball is their midfielder. And we're told that our midfielders don't need to be good on the ball. By the way, can I just say that this is the argument that I'm always having on the red carpet with other people. I'm being told that we don't need to have midfielders who are good on the ball because the wing backs are meant to do that and the wide centre backs are meant to do that. I come from a world of football, and growing up, I watched football where your midfielders were good on the ball. As simple as that. Big up to Ridwan says Glasner ball is less possession, but it's more compact, probably not as much of a high line too. They're more effective with their shooting. That's fact. And they are not wing backs who are creative. It's like asking my dog to be a cat. You ask your dog to be a cat, yeah, they're not gonna meow, they're just gonna woof at you. And you're gonna be like, why are you not meowing for? Let me see what else you guys are saying in the chat. Big up to everyone, by the way. Be sure to hit the like button if you've just come through. The players do not have the defensive intelligence to keep up the intensity as a whole unit. Okay, this is where my question lies with Fillmore and everyone else in the chat, of course, because I want to hear your thoughts. We are made to believe now that we're playing one game a week, right? We're playing one game a week. Why can't they keep that? That is my question. Is it too complicated? Is it too intense? Are they not good enough? Are you telling me the entire 26, 25, 24 man squad you got are all lacking defensive intelligence and can't keep it up together or to keep up the intensity as a full unit? Genuinely speaking, because that's very tough for me to believe. That's very, very tough for me to believe. And maybe I'm being ignorant. Maybe I'm being harsh on the manager. But it's very tough for me to believe that every single player that you have in that team is piss crap. Excuse my language, because I don't think that's the case. I genuinely do not think that's the case. Manchester United, can I just say, in defensive transition, we always look scary. We always look scary. You got your midfielder. I don't even know where our midfielders are at this point. Here's Kobe. Kobe's over here. Bruno's over here. We're going to get into the deeper comments, obviously. Let's actually... Should we get into that? Let's get into that. Let's get into that whilst I go through more of the comments. I only want Luis Enrique as a manager, please. Let's not start that, Yusuf. Amorim's the only manager that goes to a derby with City's Achilles heel being defense and goes and picks Mizraoui at right wing back, keeps Bruno at 8 instead of having Kobe at 8 and push Bruno up at 10. You know what, Big O? Going into the game, genuinely, my expectation was Ahmad at wing back. My expectation was Ahmad at right wing back because it made more sense. Bruno in the 10. You put your most creative player, in my opinion, in the most creative position for a team that we just talk about, oh, we're not creating enough, etc., etc. So when he didn't do that, I was shocked. And that is, for me, another example of trying to force this narrative of Bruno playing in midfield. Bruno is not a centre midfielder in a two-man midfield. Bruno is not a central midfielder. Put him in a three-man midfield, maybe. But Bruno has been Man United's better option in the 10. So you play him there. You get the opportunity to do that with Cunha being out. I was honestly, I was so shocked. I was so shocked. I was even shocked that Ugarte started. Before the game, Amorim said that he prefers Bruno in central midfield because he wants his creator to be deeper, and that requires him to play with a player that can cover a lot of ground, which is why he said he started Ugarte and he started Ahmad at left 10 or left inside forward, whatever the hell you want to call it. He said he started him there because he played there, or he played left wing for Ivory Coast on international duty. We are shoehorning players into positions that they shouldn't be playing in. They shouldn't be playing there. But let's take a look at this, guys. Let's take a look at this, because I felt physically sick when I saw this last night. By the way, after the game, I recorded a video, edited it, put it out, saw a couple of meltdowns online. I thought, you know what, let me just go watch football. So I just watched the Barcelona game. It was quite fun. I think they smoked Valencia like 6-0. And they weren't even starting with their main squad. But anyways, I saw this last night. And I was amazed. This is the Premier League table since Amorim took over Manchester United. So essentially match day 12 last year. By the way, there's 7 games to go until he's actually played a full season of, or full number of games of a Premier League season, i.e. 38. 31 games played, 31 points. That basically averages out to be 1 point per game. Basically, it's 1 point per game. Now, I will do you even worse, guys. I will do you one even worse, and I'm going to bring this up, which shook me. This is Ruben Amorim, life under Ruben Amorim since he took charge of Manchester United. In terms of how many games, 31 games, like I said, 8 wins, 7 draws, 16 defeats. We've lost double the number of games that we've won. Context, right? But if we were to go month by month, and shout out to United District for posting the month by month breakdown. In November, we won 0 games, but for context, I think context is also important. November, we won 0 games, but he only played the Ipswich game, which we drew, right? December, we won 2 games. January, we won 2 games. February, we won 1 game. March, we won 1 game. April, none. May, 1. August, 1. September, none. 0 games in 3 months so far is spooky. Now, September's not come to an end yet. We still got quite a few Premier League games, to be honest, in September. So he might be able to salvage a little bit of this. But I'm going to say it again one more time for you guys. 8 wins out of 31 games. And in those months, we've won 2 games twice in 2 months. So we won 2 games in 2 months. We won 1 game in 4 months. We've never won 3 games. We've never won 3 games in a month. Oh my God. I just realized that. I'm thinking, oh, where's three games that we've won in a month? We've never won 3 games in a month under Amorim, of course, because we never won back-to-back games. We've never won back-to-back games. The fact that February, March, May, August, we won 1 game. And you know what's so funny, guys? In August, we won 1 game, which was against Burnley. That was on the last day of the month. Now, this is in, I'm talking about Prem. I'm talking about the Prem. If you guys want to see something even worse, this stat shocked me even more. Manchester United's win percentages. Amorim has the worst win percentage of any permanent Manchester United manager since World War II. Do you know how much stuff has happened since World War II, guys? I think my granddad was dead by then, you know. No, my great-granddad. No, my great-granddad. Well, my great-granddad weren't even alive, guys. I don't even know if my granddad was born by then. That's a great question. I don't think my granddad was born. When did World War II end? 1939 to 1945. Bro, none of my parents were born then. Do you know how much stuff has happened since then? Bloody hell. But here you go. Here you go. The fact that majority of permanent Manchester United managers have above 50% record. There's only a couple that have below 50%, right? Even Ten Hag is safe. Even Ten Hag is safe. Guys, I'm actually deep in it. 1939 to 1945, that's when the World War was. World War II. A lot has happened since 1945. Like, we got phones, we got cameras, we got AI. Like, a lot has happened. Women can have bank cards without needing their husband's approval. Women can vote. Women can play football. Women can stream. So much has happened since then. Liverpool will be the dagger. And then he's sacked. I don't think we wait till Liverpool. I really don't think United wait till that long. BlackBerry phones came and went. Liverpool is a long way away, bro. Liverpool is in a whole month. Liverpool is a whole month away, by the way. Like, there's a long time. There's a long time for it. We got Chelsea on Saturday. I'm dreading that. Then we got Brentford away. Then we got Sunderland at home. Then we got Liverpool away. Then we got Brighton at home. And you know what the worst thing is? Those 5 games that I just mentioned to you guys, those 5 Premier League games, I couldn't tell you where our next win comes. We got 3 games until the next international break, right? We got 3 games until the next international break. And of those 3 games, I couldn't tell you where the next result comes from. You lot think Sunderland? You're talking about this team having no intensity. Sunderland are gonna intensity us to the floodgates. Minna, have you seen any positives why he is still the manager? The only thing that I can think of as why Ruben Amorim is still the manager, and I mentioned this earlier, is that I genuinely think that a lot of other people are gonna be on the chopping block. If Amorim gets sacked, I feel this picture speaks 1,000 words, not because of Sir Alex Ferguson, because of Jim Ratcliffe. I genuinely think that if Amorim gets sacked, there will be other people that go out the door with him. And that's probably a decision that they're sitting on. And probably, I'm not gonna lie, the main decision maker is probably the person who's his biggest advocate in Omar Barada, because I imagine he's the guy that brought him in. So he has to be his biggest advocate. He can't try and kick him out, because now it looks bad on you. It reflects bad on you. So when you used Ashworth as the culprit of being the decision maker behind Ten Hag, etc., you can't really say, oh, by the way, Ashworth wasn't the scapegoat, it was actually all me. Barada has to, in my opinion, if Amorim goes, and you know what I don't get about Amorim's appointment, now that, like, obviously hindsight is a bitch, but West Ham weren't really feeling the guy. Liverpool weren't really feeling the guy. The whole stubbornness and the whole talking about, I'm not going to change and etc. etc. We're going to talk about his post-match comments. But if that was enough to deter a team like West Ham, and no disrespect to West Ham, they're European champions, but if that was enough to deter them from going for him, that should say a lot. Like, Man United, to me, should be on par when it comes to decisions. They should be on par with the likes of Liverpool. Not saying that they need to replicate what Liverpool do, but if Liverpool are put off by a manager for a certain reason, I don't think United should be looking to fix him up and take him under their wing and be like, no, we're going to fix him. I genuinely see that. And again, like I'm saying, I don't think Liverpool Man United need to replicate everything they do. But when it comes to the big decisions, I think United should have. Who's saying that they didn't? But they should do their due diligence on understanding why Liverpool turned him down. And if there was a legit reason, as mentioned in the reports, about his stubbornness and his willingness to not change anything, United should have looked at that as a red flag and be like, what, if Liverpool, a big club like Liverpool, aren't really feeling him, and these are the reasons, we need to be skeptical as well. A team like West Ham told him mid-flight, turn around and go back to Portugal. Bruno Coalface lying in the post-match and pushing blame onto a young centre-back like Euro. What did he say, blaming Euro? I only saw what he said about... what did I see? I only saw the part when he was talking about basically blaming the tactics for the way that United played. Now let's talk about Ruben Amorim's comments post-match and also all the news that's come out this morning. Be sure to hit the like button as well if you have just come through. Be sure to subscribe as well if you are new here. Let's try and get the ratioing. So it's been reported by multiple different journalists, by the way, that Manchester United officials have repeated their faith in Amorim's appointment as a long-term project and have communicated that to him. Amorim retains the backing of the board, who remain of the view that he is the man to turn the club back to being a success again. The view is that progress is being made. They have also noted the impact of injuries to key players such as Matheus Cunha and Mason Mount. I don't get that, because Cunha and Mason Mount were there against Fulham. They were there against Burnley. They were there against Arsenal. So why are you now saying the impact of these key players? Anyways, despite the growing discontent among the fan base, Amorim and INEOS believe they have been unfortunate in key moments this season. The confidence in progression continues to outweigh the frustration. Patience is the key word within Manchester United. Ruben Amorim won't change his style, and United have no plan or desire to change the head coach. Now, after the game yesterday, Ruben Amorim was asked some questions, and he did say, I want to get the exact quote because I don't want to misquote him. So after the game, why is Sky telling me what Neville said? I don't care what Neville said. I'm trying to see what Amorim said. Yeah, so after the game, Ruben Amorim said, I understand everything is normal. The results, I accept that. I don't see it that way. We are doing better than the results. The record says everything. My message to the fans, I will do everything. Always thinking about what is best for the club. Until I'm here, I'll do my best. The rest is not my decision. I'm suffering more than the fans. I see the record and I understand the frustration and I understand the decisions that come with that. I take the critics. That's it. He then went on to say, I accept it is not a record you should have at Manchester United. There are a lot of things you have no idea what has happened, but I am not going to change my philosophy. I play my way and I'm going to play my way. And then he went on to say that if they want to change the way that United play, then they get rid of the man, i.e. the manager. By saying I'm suffering more than the fans is crazy, because the manager gets paid for like match day going fans or people, for example, people who went to Bilbao for the final. I know people that spent thousands of pounds, thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds to go to Bilbao for the final. Amorim makes that in probably like half a day, maybe even less than that, probably even way less than that. He makes way more than that in half a day. To say that you're suffering more than the fans is a very tough listen. I can't lie. That's a very, very tough thing to hear. Big up to Segment, who's officially a member of the community. Big up, welcome to the Minion Gang. You get to use your badges and emojis, and I always forget to promote that. So make sure you guys check that out. The pinned comment in the chat. You can join the membership club. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content. Of course, you get to support the growth of the channel. Riri, I need to send you a message. I'm going to message you after this stream before I go to my next stream. But yeah, make sure you guys check out the membership club. Now he's definitely suffering more than us. He gets them millions for doing a shit job and has a cult following that defends him. That's proper suffering. Yeah, I chose to suffer as a Man United fan, but I know what he meant. Filmer, what do you think he meant by that, about the whole suffering stuff? Because even the fact that for me is like, number one, saying that you're suffering more than the fans is very, like, for me, that's kind of hard to hear. But what is unusual for me is saying, trying to excuse yourself out of accountability by saying there are a lot of things you have no idea what has happened. Okay, enlighten us. What is happening behind closed doors that makes Manchester United perform in the manner that they do? What is that? You know, guys, anyone here studied economics? Has anyone here studied economics? You'll be familiar with this term. But let me pull up a proper graph. Anyway, so in economics, I did in my bachelor's, I did one module for economics. I flipping hated it. And then in my master's, I did another module for economics. But there's a thing called the sunk cost. If you know what the sunk cost is, I think that's the best way to sum up where we are as Manchester United right now. I think for me, that is the best way to sum up how we're doing right now. The sunk cost, for those of you guys who don't know, or the sunk cost fallacy is, and I'm going to give you like the word for word definition of it, is where a person is reluctant to abandon a strategy or a course of action because they have invested heavily in it, even when it's clear that abandonment would be more beneficial, i.e., you put in a lot of money into something, and this is an economic thing or term, sorry, because obviously it happens in economics. It happens when it comes to, like, if you're trading stocks or you're running a business and you're developing a product or whatever. Yeah, you're putting so much money into something, and it has to succeed because you're putting a lot of money into it, and you're putting time into it, and you're putting effort into it. You're putting a lot of stuff into it, but despite the fact that it's very obvious that it's just not working. You know what is a perfect example? Football Manager. Any of you guys looking forward to Football Manager? It was meant to drop last year, right? What they decided to do is delay it or cancel it and not release FM25 and cancel that and then release FM26 the following year. They didn't go through the sunk cost fallacy. They didn't do that. They realized that something that they invested money into was not working. So they cancelled it. By the way, it's coming out November 4th, so make sure you guys get it. But that's an example of it. Whereas Manchester United right now with Ruben Amorim, they are so adamant. I think they are trying to be adamant that something's going to work because they've pumped money into it. They've backed the manager. They've supported the manager through thick and thin. Women's to the FM sponsor. Now I ain't shouting them out like that, man. They ain't run me a paycheck. If they do, I'll do shout outs. Making irrational decisions that lead to dissatisfactory outcomes. Pretty much that's it. That's pretty much it. He's basically throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks. that wall 100% will smell bad. But those comments after the game for me was what kind of, I don't want to say it's set in stone, but it kind of solidified where I think the manager's thought process is. And I don't want to say, I said in the beginning of the stream, maybe he's calling their bluff. Maybe he's not calling their bluff. But maybe he's just he's a man of his word. Doesn't mean I have to agree with it, right? I don't necessarily have to agree with it. But Ruben Amorim, time and time again, I think has shown us that he is a man of his word. Now, there's reports flying around that the Benfica... this is coming from, okay, before we get to Benfica, this comes from Daily Mirror and the Mirror, saying that Amorim's rigid formation and his refusal to adapt to any other setup is said to have caused a huge concern among key members of the squad. Some United players are said to feel Amorim is undermining them by repeatedly asking them to fit into a system they are not equipped to play. This is a question to you guys that always talk about system versus players, talking about players down tooling, or the players that can't play in a certain way, etc. Who is right in this situation? Is the manager right in trying to consistently play this way in his rigid formation, or are the players right for reportedly feeling like the way that the manager wants them to play is undermining them because they know themselves they are not equipped to play like that? I can't lie. The reason why I understand the whole not being equipped is because I can imagine a player like Bruno not wanting to, like Bruno looks like he's struggling when he plays centre mid because he's not a centre mid. Definitely not in a two-man setup. Mazraoui for me is not a right wing back. He's not. So I understand this idea of, you know, feeling like they're not equipped to play in the way that the manager wants them to play. So in this situation, who would you say is right? Now, there are reports, like I mentioned. Ooh, they're saying multiple reports are also saying that the players are losing confidence in his system and there's a growing crisis at Old Trafford. Ruben Amorim retains the support of the club's hierarchy, but he's in danger of losing a section of the dressing room. Oh, we're already being fed this narrative, guys, of player versus manager. It's that time again. It's really that time again. Now, what I was actually mentioning, the reports from Chris Wheeler at the Daily Mail saying that Ruben Amorim could be offered an escape from Man United after the leading candidate to become Benfica's next president turned up at the Etihad to watch the Sunday derby. João Lopez has made no secret of his plans to take Amorim back to Benfica if he gets rid of Rui Costa in the next month's elections and is currently ahead in the polls. Save me this story. Where was this story 2 weeks ago? Where is this story last week? There is nothing at the moment which shows the system will work, so I'll be siding with the players. I don't get why the club are backing Amorim so much. We have the players to play any system, in my opinion. However, with that being said, I'm getting rid of Bruno, Dalot, Luke Shaw at the same time. Football was a sport where players went on the pitch and expressed themselves. Nowadays, football is dead. It's all about system crap. It is. I hate it. I hate the whole system, this, formation, that, style of football. That. Shut up, man. Just give me 4-4-2, 2 strikers up front. Bam. Bish bash bosh. That's what I want to see. Look at Kobe's face in that picture. You know what? It's interesting that United started creating more chances in the game yesterday after the 60th minute. And Kobe Mainoo came on, in the 62nd minute, I want to say? In the 62nd minute. Where does everyone stand on this Kobe Mainoo situation? This Kobe Mainoo situation with the manager, where does everybody stand? Because you know me, I'm personally at a point where I don't. When you say that a player deserves to play, etc., people accuse you of undermining the manager, you know, being toxic, blah blah blah. And then when you say a player is not good enough to play for the team, people say, oh, you know, all you do is abuse your player. You can never win. You can never ever win. But one thing I will say about the Kobe Mainoo thing. Ruben Amorim publicly saying that a player like Kobe Mainoo talent is not good enough. How can you publicly undermine your own player? That's what I want to know. Like, forget even like if that was, you know, one of the, he didn't even do this to Casemiro. You know, when Casemiro was out of the pecking order back in like December, January times, he never ever said Casemiro is not good enough. He's past his time, none of that stuff. He just kept saying, oh, I prefer to play this, I prefer to play this. But Kobe Mainoo, he publicly says that he's not a player that can rely on talent enough, which for me says that, you know, I'm not focusing on what you say, I'm focusing on what you don't say. And what you're not saying is essentially that he's not talented enough. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. And then he came on yesterday, got dispossessed in one moment of the game, I remember. But throughout most of the game, I think that he played about 30 or so minutes, just under that or so. Was one of Man United's better midfielders. It's obvious it's a contract thing. He's being told by INEOS to pressure Mainoo to sign a contract. I don't think this is a way that you pressure a player to sign a contract. I don't know. I've never been a football manager, but I don't think this is the way that you pressure a young player to sign a contract by publicly saying that they're not talented enough and they're not good enough to play the way that you want them to play, and they need to basically learn attributes that you like. A player, the thing is, right, and I said this before when I was talking about Glasner, midfielders for me need to be good on the ball. If you're good on the ball, you should be able to mask the things that they lack, right? That's what a good style of football will do. That's what a good manager will do. That's what a good style of football will do. I don't think that's the case right now. You lot are talking about Chelsea next week. Firstly, yeah, I've never ever seen Man United fans hate watch Chelsea on the weekend against Brentford like that before in my life. Bloody hell. I've never seen that before. But I'm not gonna lie, you lot are talking about Garnacho scoring. He might not even start. He might not even start. But what I will say, I will not be shocked if Garnacho scores, or even the fact that he got I don't even know if that went down as an assist for him the other day. I thought he scored the way that he was celebrating for that Caicedo goal. I actually thought Garnacho scored. I wouldn't be surprised if he celebrates if he scores. Like, he will celebrate hard. He will celebrate. There's none of this. Oh, I'm not going to celebrate. He's not going to do that. He's not. He might actually run to Ruben Amorim and celebrate in front of his face. He might take off his shirt and wave it in front of Amorim with his shirt number up. That's what he might do, something like that. He might do something like that. And I can't believe that is the biggest worry that fans have right now going into the Chelsea game. As if we've got bigger fish to fry. We got bigger problems than Garnacho potentially scoring it back against United. I don't give a shit if he scores. I don't care if he scores. The fact that we have bigger problems in the team, I couldn't care less about what Garnacho does, genuinely speaking. But I also think people want that for the story, for the narrative, just because it feeds into it. There's nothing more humiliating, I think, as a manager, that the players that you shipped out are performing well and you're struggling. I think there's nothing more humbling or humiliating, if you want to say that. There's nothing more humiliating than that. Every player that's gone out now is doing well. They're doing all right, except for Sancho. Sancho's probably the only one I have. Has he even played for Villa? I don't even know. Højlund's done okay. Rashford's done okay. Garnacho's done okay. Onana's done okay. Amorim has to start picking up points. Let's just look at this one more time. I think we need to look at this one more time, guys. 36% win percentage is spooky. That is really, really spooky. 8 wins in the league. In how many months? That's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 months of football. 9 months of football from last season to this season. And we've won 8 games. Damn. I don't know, man. Guys, where do we go from here? I really don't know where we go from here. Where I go from here is to the Straight Jacket podcast, because we're about to start recording in about the next 10 or so minutes, and I need to go and pray Asr. But there we have it, man. Is that therapy? Can we call it therapy after the Derby result? I don't know, man. And now I have to look ahead to Saturday. At least we got Champions League football to watch, guys. At least. But then again, it's not really. I can't really say at least we got Champions League football, because I have to watch our rival teams in the Champions League. You got Newcastle having a big game against Barcelona. Chelsea having a big game against Bayern Munich. Liverpool, big game against Atletico. Us, nothing. But it's okay. It's okay. We're going to suffer. It's going to be a storm. The storm is here. The storm is there. The storm is everywhere. Napoli versus City. There you go. Look, there's huge games this week. Huge games this week. Should I do watch-alongs for them? Let me know, guys, if you lot want to come through to the watch-alongs. I would have to do double watch-alongs, because there's like multiple games on at the same time. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I think my plan was to do a watch-along for Liverpool versus Atletico, and I think it's Bayern versus Chelsea, and then to do a double watch-along for Napoli versus City, and I can't remember the other team. The other game. Let me see, actually, whilst I'm here, so I know what watch-alongs that I can plan. The watch-alongs I'm going to do is yeah, so Bayern Munich versus Chelsea, Liverpool versus Atletico, and then I'll probably have PSG Atlanta. To be honest, though, yeah, not really. Nah, not PSG. Nah. Yeah, so those two, and then on Thursday I'll do City versus Napoli, Newcastle versus Barcelona, which is decent. That's decent. And then I will do a Merseyside derby on Saturday morning at 12:30. So that should be all right. So yeah, we could do quite a few watch-alongs. Yeah, I'll actually set it up tomorrow. So that way I have to do the watch-alongs. Once it's set up, I have to do it. And Man United the women's team are playing in Champions League, second leg. I don't know. I'll see if I can do a watch-along for that. That's too many watch-alongs at the same time. Way too many watch-alongs at the same time. But listen, guys, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. We're going to redirect to Straight Jacket Pod. We'll be live there in about 7 or so minutes. And then later on, 7 o'clock, we will be live on United View for Red Carpet. So yeah, get the therapy in, guys. We're going to get the therapy in. Athletic Club versus Arsenal. I care about them. Hit the like button on your way out, guys. I'll catch you all tomorrow. Peace.